Hello, hello. Welcome back to my channel, Crafty Concepts with Erin. Today we're going to use this silver foil pattern paper collection and create a fun scrapbook layout. Check out that shine. When you pick it up and kind of tilt it in the light, it's just awesome. I love this paper pack. This is from the annual catalog, and there's a really good selection in here. I love this leaf one. I think I'm going to use it today. I have these photos of my niece all dressed up for her school's winter formal last year. And I just want to do a really elegant layout with this paper pack. So I also have the stars. These create shaker windows, and I'm going to incorporate them onto my project. Here is the charcoal cardstock. You can see there's a light and a dark shade, and I've trimmed this down to have a border around the edge of the paper. And then I have a strip of white daisy. This is 4 1/4 by 12, and I'm going to offset this on the left-hand side here. So I thought the stars would be fun for the holiday layout. So I'm going to use this smaller inner portion. And what I'm going to do is run this through my die cutting machine. I'm just kind of experimenting with placement. So I have the little confetti, and then there is this, I've done 2 of those. So we have the hole cut in our strip and then 2 of the star pieces. Now, normally you would just use the confetti and throw this piece away, but I am going to tap it with my VersaMark ink, get it all sticky, and then dip it into some embossing powder. So I'm going to bring in silver embossing powder, and we're going to make these look really cool. So we'll just give them a good dusting, and then we can melt this powder and create our own embellishments with the leftovers. So I'm going to pick those up with the tweezers, tap that off, and then setting it down on a cutting board is going to help because, it's going to be difficult to hold this tiny of a piece. So by putting it down on the cutting board and just holding it with the tip of the tweezers, I don't have to worry about burning my fingers. So then we'll do the second one here. And I like to dip these and do this process a couple times. So once I set this, I'll tap with the VersaMark ink again, and then repeat the process a second time. Doing this a second time really gives a nice finish. It makes it super thick, shiny, and smooth, and looks like a metal embellishment. Very cool. Embossing is one of those techniques that just never ceases to amaze me. It's always cool. It's as cool as the first day I did it. It's just fun to watch that powder melt. So you can see we have these really cool embellishments. I don't know if you can see the difference of the one I did twice. But now we're ready to add a little embossing powder to this. So I have my medium tip. This is the embossing pen. It comes in a medium, a fine, and a brush tip. So I'm going around the edge of this area here, just tracing the outline of the star, and we're going to add that silver embossing powder to this as well to coordinate with the other pieces and help this stand out. So it's just really easy. You just go right around the edge and then repeat the process of embossing. I like stretching my crafty stash and getting more from these products. So you have, if you've been watching my channel for a while, I've made some fun shaker cards with the stars. So it's nice to use the different bits and pieces from the star shaker set, say that 10 times fast, and just get different looks. So I know that's probably difficult to appreciate, but it does look really cool. So we'll just place this back on our layout, and I want these to be like little ornaments hanging from the top of the page. So we're going to make a shaker element out of the one window there. So I have these star shakers that are already cut to fit the larger pieces here. So that's okay, we can still use this and it's going to work great. I'm going to use liquid glass, but first there is a protective film on the acetate. So I'm just going to use my paper piercer, scratch the very edge, get that lifted, and I can peel it off. So when you're applying the liquid glass, don't go so close to the edge. You want to give it a little room when you press the acetate down for it to kind of flatten out and squish. And this way it won't go into the center of the star. So we'll put a block on it for a little bit so that dries, and then you can see I need to trim off the piece that's overhanging. So now we can use this thinner 3D foam tape, and if you peel off the backing, it will bend in shape. So you can kind of move this around. You can cut it or you can just move it around to follow the outline of any shape that you create. So we're using the foam so we have room for our little shaker bits that we're going to put in the center of this window here. So you want to make sure you get all the edges covered. You don't want any nooks or crannies where the sequins can sneak out the side and escape. We definitely don't want any escaping sequins. Okay, so we've created our star, and then there's the bluebell sequins. So this kind of, it's blue, but yet it really goes well with silver. There's white and silver and different colors in there, is all mixed in, and it's really pretty. The silver star confetti would work really well also, but I think I'm just going to stick with the bluebell. So I have a little scrap of white daisy paper, and I just applied that to trap it all inside, and that is going to look really cool on the layout. So since that creates some dimension, we need to pop up the rest of that panel. So I am going to use some foam tape and just go, you don't have to cover the entire thing, but you want to get the four corners and just, put some throughout the middle so that that is evenly popped up. If you had craft foam from just like Walmart or whatnot, you could use that, and that is an inexpensive way to cover a large area. So we're going to flip that over, and we're ready to adhere this to our layout. So I'm just making sure that foam is super sticky, so you definitely want to have it lined up before you lay it down and press. So then I thought, to help this stand out, we have some beautiful silver glitter paper. So I cut off just a tiny strip, and I'm going to glue that underneath this white daisy paper just to give it some separation and to define those layers. So I'm just sneaking it under. I definitely wanted to use liquid glue so I could wiggle this into place. And then I'm just going to repeat that on the opposite side to create the silver border on the right edge. So it's just a really little detail, but it makes a big difference. I love how much shine is going on in this layout. We have the foiling on the paper, and then the sequins and the embossing and the glitter paper, and it's just all working together. So I'm showing you, I just put foam on the back of this photo mat to pop that up. And again, that's just craft foam you can find in the kids craft section at your local Target or Walmart or Hobby Lobby, anything like that. So I have this word Christmas, and this is left over from, I think it's called Silver and Gold, and there's these little silver stars. So I want to use this up. So I'm going to just kind of play with the placement of my little ornaments so they can work with my title. And then I thought it would be fun to kind of nest some silver thread behind the stars at the top of my photo. So I've just looped it around my fingers 3 times, and I've just created a little circular, string, and it just looks kind of fun popping out from behind the photo. So to hang my little ornaments, I'm using more of that silver thread and a glue dot, and it's just going to stick to the back side. And then I'm going to put liquid glue on the ornament itself and hang this from the top of my page. So I've also taken that same silver thread and tied a few bows, which will attach in just a moment. So then you want to repeat that process for the other little hanging ornament. So a little glue dot. These micro glue dots work really well to attach the silver thread, which is super tiny. So I'm just pressing it down to the glue dot, and perfect. And we'll overlap the photo just a bit, and then we will attach that thread on the opposite side here in just a moment. So we have one more. This one's a little tricky because I can't apply the thread to the back side. So we'll just squish a little glue dot at the top and run the thread like so. And I think that is going to look good. Trim off the excess. And now I can use glue dots to tie these tiny little bows, which I just did off camera, just to save a little bit of time. So we'll repeat that process on all 3 ornaments, and it just looks like they're hanging, and it's just kind of a fun look. For those that have been watching my channel for a while, you know I have boys. So when I saw these photos of my niece all dressed up for her Christmas dance, I was like, yes, I can't wait to create a glitzy layout. And I was excited. It was going to be fun. Not that I don't like creating boy pages, because I do, but sometimes it's just fun to go all girly and glitzy. I am adding more of that Belle sequence. I have my little jewel picker here, and I'm just using the liquid glue to put some of those in the cluster around the stars. And then I'm bringing in, this is again from that silver and gold paper collection, which is retired, but it is nice to use up that crafty stash. And so I thought to bring in a strip, and I'm thinking it looks a little heavy down there. So I am going to trim that strip down and lighten it up, because it's just a little thick, I think, for the layout. So I wanted to add a little bit of black to this layout, but I don't have it anywhere else other than that bottom piece. So I am cutting a tiny little just strip of this black paper, and I'll tuck it up top just to carry that color up. And now I'm bringing in more of these little stars. So I use that same little inner star portion and cut it out of the glitter paper so we can put them along the border, and then I'll use this piece down here. So just using a little liquid glue, and I will tack these tiny stars surrounding the larger ones here on our strip. You can never have too much shine and sparkle, right? I don't think so. So I did cut this piece down, and the thinner piece, I think that looks like a better balance, and I'm going to go with that. I've printed out just a tiny little journaling strip, and I like it. So you can see that fun shaker element there on the page and all the glitz and glitter, and it's just fun and pretty. So again, these are kind of designed for cards, but they work great on a layout. If you like what you saw today, be sure to give me a big thumbs up, and here's a few more videos you may enjoy. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.